I never thought I'd be the guy to get played like this, especially not by someone I thought I knew so well. My name's Jake, and I'm telling this story because I guess I need to get it off my chest, and maybe it'll help someone else out there who's been blindsided by the person they trusted most. I met Emily about 5 years ago. She was gorgeous, smart, and a little bitchy, just the way I liked it. We clicked right away, and I thought we had a solid thing going. We got engaged after 2 years, and I was honestly feeling pretty lucky. She had a bit of a diva attitude, but she was also funny and knew how to keep me on my toes. Our wedding was supposed to be perfect. We planned it for months, family flying in, friends throwing in their money, everything just feeling right. The week of the wedding was hectic but exciting. Everyone was happy, the atmosphere was electric. I was on cloud nine. Then, weird little things started happening. Emily was acting strange, more irritable, snapping at me over nothing. She started canceling plans last minute, saying she was too busy, or that she wasn't feeling well. I brushed it off because I figured she was stressed with the wedding or maybe just nervous. We had our moments, but I trusted her. But then came the night before the wedding. I was helping her with her dress, and she snapped at me out of nowhere, said I was being annoying for wanting to rehearse the vows one last time. That was the first real crack in the facade. I remember feeling a little hurt, but I told myself she was just overwhelmed. The wedding day was chaos as expected. Everything went smoothly until the reception. I noticed she was texting her phone constantly, sneaking glances at it when she thought I wasn't looking. I saw her send a quick message, then quickly lock the screen. I felt a strange knot in my stomach but told myself I was just being paranoid. Then came the honeymoon. At first, everything seemed fine. We were supposed to be happy, starting our life together. But even then, I caught small things. She was secretive about her phone, deleting messages, locking apps. She'd get defensive if I asked her about it, calling me overbearing or trusting. Too much. It wasn't until about a month after we got back from our honeymoon that I really started noticing the signs. She was more distant, more bitchy than usual. She'd snap at me over small stuff, things I never expected. One night I saw her receive a text that read, "Can't wait to see you tonight," and the contact was brother. The way she responded, I swear I saw a little softness, a little something more than just sisterly affection. I remember feeling confused, then angry. I didn't want to believe it. I kept brushing it off, telling myself I was overreacting. Maybe she was just joking around, or maybe it was an innocent mistake. But the signs kept piling up. There was the late-night phone calls, the unexplained absences, her changing behavior around her family, especially her brother, Mark. I started digging a little. I'd find her hiding her phone, or I'd catch her in the act of deleting messages. I never wanted to believe it, but I couldn't deny what I was seeing anymore. One day, I decided to follow her. She said she was going out to run errands, but I had a gut feeling. I followed her to a small hotel on the outskirts of town. I saw her go inside with Mark. The door closed behind them, and I felt my stomach drop. I listened from the parking lot, and I heard them laughing, talking intimately. It wasn't just sibling stuff. I could hear the way she was whispering, the way Mark was responding, like they were trying to hide something. That was the moment I realized everything I thought I knew about Emily was a lie. My wife, the woman I married, was cheating on me with her own brother. And I found out during the week we were supposed to be celebrating our marriage. It was a brutal slap in the face. I stayed there in the shadows for a while, trying to process what I'd just seen. I wanted to run, to scream, to break something. But I just stood there, frozen, watching her laugh and touch him like they were the only two people in the world. That's when the shock turned to rage. How could she do this? How could she betray me, her own husband, during our wedding week? I knew I had to confront her. I couldn't keep pretending, but I also knew this wasn't going to be a simple talk. No, this was going to be something bigger. I didn't come this far to be played for a fool. I was going to make her pay for this betrayal. I waited until she came out of the hotel, her face flushed, her hair a bit tousled, and her eyes shining with a guilty sort of happiness. I felt my blood boil. I wanted to scream at her, to shake her, to make her admit everything right then and there, but I kept my cool. Instead, I followed her back home, pounding with a mix of shock and fury. When we finally got inside, I waited until she was in the bedroom, changing clothes, pretending everything was fine. That's when I finally lost it. I confronted her directly, my voice trembling but full of rage. I told her I knew everything about her affair with Mark, the late-night calls, the secret meetings, everything. Her reaction was classic Emily, shrill, deflective, and full of lies. She told me I was crazy, that I was imagining things, that I had no proof. She said I was just jealous, insecure, and that I was overreacting because I was so damn clueless. She called me paranoid, possessive, and said I was ruining everything for her. She even had the nerve to cry, fake tears, I knew that. But I wasn't going to be swayed by her crocodile tears. I pulled out the evidence I'd collected, screenshots, messages, a few photos I secretly took. Her face twisted with anger and contempt. She kept insisting she was innocent, that it was all a mistake, that she loved me, and that Mark was just messing around, that she was just curious. Curious. That's when I really started to feel the betrayal cut deep. How could she be so manipulative? How could she lie so effortlessly? I felt like I didn't even know her anymore. I had trusted her with everything, my life, my future, and she'd spent our wedding week buried in her brother's arms. The worst part was how she kept lying, even as I showed her the proof. Every time I brought up a message or a call, she'd deny it, spin some story about how she was just talking to her brother because she was worried about him or wanted to. Help, she called me crazy for even thinking she'd do something like that. Said I was insecure, that I was reading too much into harmless conversations. I could feel my mind unraveling. How the hell did it come to this? I had been blind, so blind. I was always the easygoing guy, the one who trusted and believed in her. And now I saw her for what she really was, something cold, calculating, and selfish. I remember feeling this intense mixture of shock, sadness, and a burning desire for revenge. I wanted to make her regret everything, to make her feel the pain she'd inflicted on me. But I was also trembling inside, afraid, hurt, betrayed in ways I couldn't even put into words. That night I didn't sleep. I kept replaying her lies, her sneaky texts, her fake tears, and her brother's face. I knew I couldn't stay in this marriage. Not anymore. I started thinking about what my next move should be, how I could make her see that I wasn't a fool, that I had uncovered her true face. I decided I had to gather more proof, plan my next steps carefully. I was furious, yes, but I also knew I needed to be smart about this. The next days were a blur. I started secretly recording her interactions, hiding my phone. I noticed she'd become even more aggressive, more bitchy, probably because she knew I was onto her. She'd snap at me over small things, call me paranoid, accuse me of stalking her. But I kept my cool. I wasn't going to let her see how much her lies had shattered me. I also reached out to Mark, her brother, who at first denied everything. But I knew better. I had seen enough. I told him I knew the truth, that I had proof, and that I wanted to talk. His response was defensive, trying to deny it all, but I could hear the guilt in his voice. I knew they'd been lying for a long time, hiding what was really going on. Meanwhile, Emily kept up her act, acting innocent, pretending to be the perfect wife, the victim. She threw tantrums, accused me of being crazy, and kept claiming I was not enough for her. She said she was confused, that she loved me but was just weak, that she didn't mean for it to happen. But I knew better. I knew she was lying. She was enjoying her little secret life, and I was just the fool who didn't see it coming. Every day felt like walking on a tightrope. I was angry, humiliated, and deeply hurt. I started questioning everything I'd ever believed about her, about us. Was I really married to someone I could trust, or had I been fooled from the start? The betrayal cut so deep I didn't know if I'd ever recover. I kept telling myself I'd be better off without her, but part of me still hoped she'd come clean, that she'd finally admit what she'd done and own up to it. But she never did. Instead, her lies grew more elaborate. She'd promised to change, to fix things, but I saw through it all. I saw her for what she was, a manipulative, dishonest woman who'd lied her way into my life and then tore it apart. I wasn't sure what I was going to do next, but I knew I had to decide soon. The trust was gone, and the betrayal was too deep to ever truly heal. After a few days of trying to keep my composure, I knew I couldn't let her get away with it. The lies, the manipulation, the fact that she was still denying everything, it was eating me up inside. I had to make a move, had to confront her again, but this time with a plan. I wasn't just going to accuse her without proof. I needed her to own up, to face the reality of what she'd done. That night, I set up my phone to record. I told her I was going out to clear my head, but really, I just wanted to catch her in her own words. I hid it in the corner of the room and waited. It wasn't long before she started her usual act, snapping at me for not trusting her, calling me paranoid, accusing me of being crazy. But I didn't say anything. I just kept recording. She started pacing around, getting more agitated. Her voice rose, and I could hear the tension in her words. Suddenly, she slipped up. She mentioned meeting Mark again that week, said she missed him, and that she was thinking about leaving everything behind for him. My blood ran cold. I finally had her own voice admitting what I suspected all along. I felt a strange mixture of relief and rage. Relief because now I had the proof I needed. Rage because she'd been lying, cheating, and sneaking around for months, maybe longer. I knew this wasn't just some innocent mistake. This was a full-blown affair, and she was planning to run away with her brother. When she finished, I stepped out of the shadows and confronted her. I told her I had everything recorded, that I knew exactly what she'd been up to. Her face went pale, and she immediately started to spin more lies, trying to deny it all. She said it was just sex, that she didn't mean to hurt me, that she was weak. Her voice was shrill, full of desperation and anger, but I wasn't buying it anymore. She'd lied so many times I didn't trust her one bit. I felt my heart pounding. My mind was racing. I asked her why she did it, why she cheated on me with her own brother during our wedding week, no less. She stared at me with that bitchy look she always had, then said she was confused, that I was boring, and that Mark was more exciting. She accused me of being clueless and not enough for her. That was the moment I realized she'd never truly loved me, not like I thought she did. She was just using me, stringing me along, hiding her real life behind a mask. That night, after she stormed out of the room, I sat in silence and let everything sink in. I felt numb, but also furious. I started to think about what I needed to do next. I knew I couldn't keep this marriage going, not with all the lies, the betrayal, and the lies about her feelings for Mark. I had to make a decision. Part of me wanted to confront her family, let them know what their perfect daughter was really up to. Part of me wanted to just walk away, start over somewhere new. But I also knew I couldn't stay in a lie, in a marriage built on deception. I was so angry I wanted to ruin her, to make her see that I wasn't some fool she could play. But at the same time, I felt a deep sadness, like I'd lost the woman I loved, the woman I thought I knew. I decided I needed to gather even more evidence. Text messages, maybe even voice recordings of her talking to Mark about leaving. I wanted her to understand that I was serious. I wasn't going to be the fool anymore. She played her hand, and I was going to make sure she paid for it. The days that followed were tense. She tried to act normal, but I saw the cracks. She kept snapping at me, trying to gaslight me into thinking I was crazy. She'd call me paranoid, possessive, but I didn't care. I knew the truth now, and I wasn't going to back down. I was finally starting to feel like I had the upper hand, like she was the one cornered, not me. In my mind, I kept replaying everything, her lies, her fake tears, her sneaky texts with Mark. It all made me sick to my stomach. I thought about the future, what I'd do if I left, if I stayed. Honestly, I was torn. Part of me wanted to walk away and never see her again. The other part, I guess, still hoped she'd come clean, admit everything, and maybe, just maybe, own up to what she'd done. But deep down, I knew that ship had sailed. One thing was clear. My trust was shattered beyond repair. I looked at her differently now, like she was some stranger I'd only just met. I'd always believed in loyalty, honesty, a kind of love that was supposed to last forever. But she threw all that away during our wedding week, with her brother no less. I never thought she was capable of something so cruel, so calculated. So now I sit here, typing this out, still trying to process what happened. I don't know if I'll ever fully get over it. I don't know if I want to. All I know is I'm done pretending. I'm done being the fool, and I'm done with her. The betrayal runs too deep, and I've finally opened my eyes to the woman I thought I knew. The aftermath hit harder than I expected. After that night of confrontation, I knew I had to act fast. I couldn't stay in the same house, in the same marriage, knowing what I knew. I started making plans, packing a bag, figuring out where I could go, what I needed to do. But even as I organized my escape, a strange sense of clarity started to settle in. I realized this was no longer just about betrayal. It was about trust, something I'd lost completely. The thing I didn't expect was how quickly her attitude shifted. The bitchy, defiant side of her became even more pronounced. She started throwing tantrums, accusing me of ruining everything, claiming I was crazy for even suspecting her. She kept insisting that she loved me, that she was just confused, that it was just sex, and that I shouldn't be so insecure. I could see in her eyes, though, the glint of guilt, the fear of getting caught. But she masked it well with her usual bitchiness, making me wonder if she was just trying to manipulate me into backing off. I kept recording everything, her rants, her accusations, her fake tears. I wasn't just gathering evidence to expose her. I was trying to stay grounded. I knew if I let her gaslight me again, I'd lose my mind. So I stayed calm, even as she threw every insult in the book. I wanted her to know I wasn't afraid anymore, that I had her dead to rights. One morning she snapped at me over breakfast, accusing me of snooping, of trying to ruin her life. That's when I finally snapped back. I told her I knew everything about her affair, her plans with her brother, her lies. I told her I wasn't going to be her fool anymore and I was leaving once I had what I needed. She looked at me with that snide, bitchy smirk, trying to act like she was the victim. But I saw through it. That fake expression couldn't hide her guilt anymore. I told her I had enough evidence to end this charade. I was going to tell her family, her friends, anyone who needed to know what she really was, a liar, a cheat, a manipulative bitch. I wanted her to feel the same humiliation I felt, to understand that I wasn't some naive fool she could control. Her face twisted with anger, then she started crying again. Fake tears, I was sure of it. She begged me not to go, saying I was overreacting, that she loved me, that she'd change. She swore she'd cut ties with Mark, that it was just a mistake, that she was so sorry, but I wasn't buying it. I realized her tears were just another tactic, another way to keep me hooked, to make me doubt myself. I looked her dead in the eyes and told her I didn't believe her, that I'd already seen enough. I told her she could keep lying, keep pretending, but I was done. I was leaving, and I was going to make sure everyone knew what she really was. That moment, I felt a strange mix of relief and anger. Relief because I finally saw her for what she was, nothing but a liar. And anger because I'd wasted so much time, so many years, thinking I knew her. I started to pack my stuff. I didn't tell her exactly where I was going, but I knew I needed to get out before she could spin any more lies. I left her with some angry parting words, that I'd be exposing her, that she'd regret what she did, that she'd never be able to fake her way through this again. As I walked out that door, I felt a strange, almost cold sense of liberation. It was like shedding a skin I'd outgrown. But even as I prepared to leave, I couldn't shake the feeling of betrayal. How could she do this? How could the woman I loved, the woman I married, turn out to be this manipulative, selfish person? I kept asking myself if I ever really knew her at all. Or was I just blind, playing the fool all along? The whole thing made me question everything about trust, about honesty. I used to believe in forever. Now I wonder if anyone can really be trusted, especially when they hide such dark secrets. I don't know what the future holds, but one thing I do know: my life is never going to be the same after this. I've lost my wife, my trust, and maybe even a part of myself trying to believe that she was who she seemed to be. As I walked away from that house, I promised myself I'd never let someone like her manipulate me again. I'd rebuild, I'd recover, and I'd learn something from all this. Always question what you see, I guess. Never ignore the signs. And most importantly, protect yourself from the people who deceive you, no matter how convincing they might seem. I still wonder if she'll ever come clean, if she'll ever admit what she did. But honestly, I don't think I want to hear it. Not anymore. I just want to move on, find some peace, and figure out who I am without her. That's the real lesson. I can't trust everyone, but I can learn to trust myself again. It's been a few weeks now since I walked out that door. I've been staying with a friend, trying to piece myself back together. Honestly, it's a roller coaster. I go from feeling numb to furious, then to a strange sense of relief. The worst part has been the constant replay in my head. Her lies, her sneaky messages, that moment I caught her with her brother. It's like I can't escape it. Every time I think I'm moving on, something triggers a memory, and I'm right back where I started, feeling betrayed, angry, and lost. One of the hardest parts has been trying to rebuild trust in myself mostly. I kept asking myself whether I was blind, whether I missed the signs, whether I ever really knew her at all. The answer I keep coming back to is no. She was good at hiding it. She was manipulative. So good at pretending to be the perfect wife. That bitchy attitude, the fake tears, all of it was just her way of controlling her image, hiding what she was really doing behind my back. It's almost impressive how well she played the part. But here's the thing, I also feel a strange sense of empowerment. I finally see her for what she is. No more illusions, no more excuses. The woman I married was a liar, a cheater, and a manipulator. I don't regret what I saw or what I did. If anything, I'm glad I found out before things got worse, before she could drag me into some deeper mess with her brother or anyone else. I don't trust her anymore, but I trust myself to move past this. I've started focusing on myself. Going back to work, hitting the gym, trying to reconnect with friends I'd neglected. It's not easy. I catch myself staring at my phone, waiting for her to call or message, then remembering she's not coming back. That sting doesn't go away, but I try to keep busy. I know I need to heal, both physically and mentally. I've realized how much I'd let her control me, let her lie and manipulate me into thinking I was the crazy one. One thing I've learned is that betrayal leaves scars, but those scars can be a reminder, something to make you cautious, stronger. I've been reading about emotional resilience, about how sometimes the worst experiences teach us the most. I used to believe in forever, in that perfect love that would last a lifetime. Now I understand that real love is about honesty, about trust, about having someone who truly stands beside you, not someone who runs away or hides behind lies. I've also reached out to a counselor, not because I'm broken, far from it, but because I want to understand how I got here, how I let someone manipulate me like that. I need to rebuild my confidence, my sense of self-worth. I realized I'd been giving too much of myself to her, my time, my trust, my love, and she'd just thrown it all away. I don't want to be that naive guy again. Most days I feel a little stronger. I start to see a future where I'm not haunted by her betrayal. I've even started dating a little, just casually. It's early and I know I need to heal properly before jumping into anything serious, but I realize I still have hope. Hope that I can find someone who's honest, who respects me, someone I can truly trust. Looking back, I see how blind I was. I see how I ignored the signs, how I dismissed the doubts because I loved her so much. That's the biggest lesson. Never ignore your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. Trust isn't something you give blindly. It's built on honesty and respect. And if someone shows you they're capable of lying, manipulating, and cheating, you have to walk away before they destroy you completely. I tell myself every day that I'm better off without her, that I deserve someone who's genuine, someone who won't lie and cheat behind my back. I know I'll recover from this. It's going to take time, but I will. I already feel the weight lifting, a little bit at a time. And for anyone else out there going through something similar, trust me, it gets better. You just have to face the truth, no matter how ugly it is, and then decide to start fresh. I don't know what the future holds. Maybe I'll find someone new, maybe I'll stay single for a while. But I know one thing, she's out of my life now, and I'm finally free from her toxic web of lies. The most important thing I've learned is to never lose sight of your own worth. Because if you do, someone will gladly take advantage of that. And I refuse to let anyone do that to me again. Now that I've had some time to breathe and reflect, I realize how much this whole ordeal has changed me. At first, I was just a guy who got blindsided, who trusted blindly and got burned for it. But slowly, I've started rebuilding, not just my life, but my understanding of what real trust means. I've learned that love isn't just about feeling good. It's about honesty, respect, and loyalty. Without those, everything else is meaningless. I won't lie. There are days when the pain bubbles up again, when I think about what she did and wonder how someone can be so cruel. It's a betrayal that cuts deep, but I also understand now that I can't let her define my future. She's out of my life and I'm better for it. I'm learning what I deserve. And honestly, I deserve so much more than what she was willing to give me. The biggest lesson I take away is trust your instincts. When something doesn't feel right, pay attention to that little voice inside. Don't dismiss it, don't brush it away just because you want things to be perfect. Because in the end, the truth always comes out. And when it does, you have to be brave enough to face it, no matter how ugly it is. I'm starting to believe that life has a way of healing itself. That even after the worst betrayals, there's a chance to rebuild, to find happiness again. I've been through hell, but I'm still here. I'm still standing. And I've learned to value myself more than I ever did before. That's what matters most. To anyone reading this who's going through something similar, know you're not alone. It hurts, it's messy, and it feels like the end of everything you believed in. But trust me, it's not. It's just the beginning of a new chapter. One where you decide your worth, your boundaries, and your future. A future where honesty and loyalty are non-negotiable. I may never fully understand why she did what she did or how she could betray me so cruelly. But I do know this: I am stronger than her lies. I am worth more than her manipulations. And I refuse to let her steal any more of my happiness. So this is where I stand now, free from her web, with a clearer mind and a stronger heart. I'll keep moving forward one day at a time. And I'll never forget what I've learned. Never ignore the signs, never settle for less, and always, always trust yourself. Because in the end, you're the only one who truly knows what's right for you.